Sorry. I was feeling a little zombified there. Welcome back, Insomniacs. It's Kurious Cyclopes,
And Steve.
and Steve has a special treat for you all today.
Oh boy.
Steve, what are you going to be talking about today?
Uh, I got suckered into talking about AMC's The Walking Dead.
Yeah, the show responsible for killing AMC's Fear Fest for the past couple of years. So I'll tell you what. I'm not going to really be talking much. I'm going to be sitting out, but I caught an episode of it during the first season at the barber shop getting my hair cut, and I don't know. That was my only impression of it, and I didn't care to watch it.
Right.
Besides some things you told me, but so Steve, I guess talk about when Walking Dead first came out, maybe what you know about the comics, and I don't know. Take it away, Steve. Here he goes.
Alright. It was way back in time in the year 2010. We've actually talked before about how Walking Dead kind of came out at like the end of the zombie hype,
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
which I guess it brought it back a little. Although I've always said when talking about the show with people, and I think it's intentionally written that way, that the zombies are like a afterthought. They're just kind of like extras in the background, and the show is more about like humanity and how the end of the world and the zombie apocalypse would change people.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I mean, I love the show, dude. It's definitely one of those shows that it's you could almost get away with watching just like the season premiere, mid-season finale, and the season finale of the show, and like those are the most interesting episodes all the time. Like there's a lot of filler.
A lot of conversations, I'm sure. Like,
Yeah, and I mean
cool.
there's stuff you need to know that's going on, but like all the deaths and the cool shit happened in like those 3 episodes of the season. But it started out, you had your first season where it was just kind of like, yeah, the main character Rick, he's like a police officer who fell into a coma or some shit like right at the beginning of the apocalypse. So he wakes up in like the first episode in a hospital, and there's like the doors are all barred off, and I'm sure you've seen that shit that says like don't open, dead
oh
inside.
yeah.
That's from the hospital. He gets his way out of the hospital, runs into like some random dude, Morgan and his kid, and like kind of helps them out, and then heads to Atlanta because he's trying to find his wife and son. So you see him track down his family, and you kind of get introduced to this whole group of like survivors that have met up together. One of which is his partner or some guy who worked like with him as a cop, Shane, who was fucking his wife.
What?
Yeah, you
While
don't.
he's in a coma? That's
Yeah,
fucked up, man.
right. They you don't know that right away, but you kind of know it right away. But so most of the first season was just like kind of introduction to the characters, and towards the end of it, they get to like the CDC in Atlanta, and they meet up with a guy who tells them, I don't know if we've figured it out in the show. If they, I think they said it that it's like a airborne thing, so like everyone's infected. It's just death that actually like makes the like zombification like happen.
Oh, so until you die, like, there's
Right.
no way around it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you die, there you're turning into a zombie unless you or they destroy your brain when you die.
Is this everyone on the planet?
Yeah.
Jeez.
As far as I know, I think yeah. But then you got into the second season, which was fucking filler galore. Like,
really?
yeah.
That's a shame that they would drop off just after one season,
There was a the major plot point of the first like half of the season was there was this character Carol who had like a daughter, and she went missing, and like the whole first half of the season was just like, oh my god, where's my daughter, and like everybody's out trying to find her and shit. But the mid-season finale of the second season is like one of the coolest episodes possibly of the entire show, because like they end up on this farm with this like family of people who the family's super weird, and they believe that all their friends and family who have died and turned into walkers are still in there somewhere. So
Really?
they have them stashed in a barn, and won't kill them. They're actually taking, like those dog collars, kind of like the big poles with
Yeah,
the
like the
loop
dog
on 'em.
pounds use them.
Yeah, they take those out and put them around like the zombies' necks and like actually walk them into the barn and won't kill them.
What did they do? Take him out for a walk?
Yeah, I guess. So in the mid-season finale, the dude Shane, the partner who was like sleeping with the dude's wife, he freaks out and he's just like, "They're fucking monsters in there. Like, we gotta do something about it." And he fucking breaks open the barn doors and just like a flood of zombies come out and they all kind of line up in a firing squad and are just like taking them out. But then, of course, the very last zombie to walk out is the girl's daughter. Yeah. So took you like it took you like 7 episodes to get to that.
I'm gonna cry.
So you do like more farm stuff. Shit happens. The end of that season, I think the farm like burns down or whatever, and they end up having to relocate. Conveniently, they find a prison that's been all but abandoned. They kind of have to clear it out and shit. And this is when shit gets like more. I think like season 3 is when the show kind of starts to like pick up, because that's when you get introduced to your first villain per se. Like there's this character, the governor, who's kind of the leader of this other camp that like has nothing to do with them, but he's like definitely not a good dude at all. Like,
And he's literally the governor of that city, or is that just his name? His
sort
title?
of, yeah. Like he wasn't actually the governor. Like,
Yeah, but that's what they call him
Right.
now, because he had resources, I'm sure. Or something.
Yeah. They also like that was cool from the comic books, the whole like governor and Rick against each other thing, and like that's where they started to stray from the source material quite a bit too, though, because in the comics, the governor cut off one of Rick's hands, and if you ever see like the commercials or anything, he's still got all 10 of them digits. Like, it's so, and they always said that it was a loose interpretation, that it wasn't going to be just like absolutely what the comic books were, but they definitely strayed a little bit. But it was interesting, like especially all the like attacks where I'm pretty sure it's the end of the season where the governor shows up with all his like people, and he's got like a fucking tank that they like drive through the fucking fence at the prison to like take it over basically. So that's pretty cool. Then it gets kind of lame again because there's the governor almost stuck around for too long, like kind of out war is welcome, where you were just like, yeah, we get it, he's the bad guy, move along. So they finally did, and they end up going to like this terminus place or whatever, which was like very short term. Like it was a big deal them getting there, and they did a lot of filler to get them there. But then when they end up there, it's just this like group of cannibals and shit that they
Cannibals?
Yeah, it was weird.
Cannibals that aren't even zombies?
No, yeah, just humans that, because there's so few resources and supplies, that they
Oh, okay.
became
At first I was
cannibalistic.
thinking, like, how are tribal cannibal people getting out there? But
Oh, yeah, no.
no, but they're just people that turned to
Yeah,
cannibalism.
just for survival's sake. So that goes away pretty fast, and then they end up in this town. I think it's Alexandria is the name of the town. And it's like this gated community, and they show up, and it's all very civilized, and the people who run the place are like, yeah, this is our home, and we're protected, and, you know, you guys are all going to have jobs. You're going to work the fence. You're going to be the town sheriff, like shit like that. Of course, that can't last for long for an interesting show. So, like, Rick gets in there, and he's pushing buttons right away and pissing people off and causing trouble, and they're all like, oh, we don't get it, why you need to be the, like, leader, and why your intentions seem so bad. And it's like, even though they've welcomed his whole crew into there,
Yeah.
they're still, like, his whole crew is having little, like, secret sidebar meetings and shit, kind of talking about how they're going to be able to take the place over so they can run it. They're not good people. Like, that's one of the
I was
things.
just going to say, like, why the fuck would they want to take it over if they were just saved?
Right. Like, one of the more interesting things, I think, is the ambiguity of, like, whether you should be rooting for the main characters or not.
That's interesting, because even this whole time I was assuming, okay, these are the good guys.
Right.
And, like, and they're... But no, they fuck people over, too, I guess.
Oh,
huh?
yeah. Definitely.
Is it out of true selfishness and evil, or is it kind of like they don't have a choice for a lot of the the decisions
I think
when it comes to fucking someone over.
more survival's sake that they're doing it like for their own good, but that doesn't necessarily make it any better.
Yeah.
Like even there's periods where they'll come across people, and I forget exactly what they are, but they have these like 2 or 3 questions that they ask any like survivors that they run across to kind of feel them out and see if they're like good or bad. And like they literally will leave people behind and be like, "Nah, we don't trust you. Go find somebody else." Like, which is fucked up, dude. Like, you
Yeah.
find a whole crew of people, and it's just like, yeah,
Just
you can
over
fuck
questions?
off. Yeah, like,
I mean, if someone's living and they're not a zombie, what's there not to trust at that point?
well, because the world has become so divided into different factions and groups and shit.
Oh.
So, like, if they run into a guy and they trust him and bring him in, and he turns out to be a scavenger for like
Or like
the
a
governor
spy for a
or
gang or
right,
something.
who's
Wow.
coming in trying to take all their shit, they like just can't risk
Well,
it.
yeah, that's a bitch.
Yeah, but like one of the at the end of that season where they get into that township, it's like a woman who runs the thing. I think she had a husband, but he dies like in the middle of the season or something. But there's a guy who they do that Talking Dead show afterwards or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
And they would refer to this guy as Porch Dick. Yeah, he's the husband of this like female character that Rick clearly had like a thing for, who would just like sit on his porch and drink and smoke cigarettes and like say dickish shit. Well, he like you find out that he's abusive to the wife or whatever, and I think he like goes after somebody in like public. I don't remember exactly how it happens, but anyway, there's like a scene where they're all circled around this porch dick guy in like the middle of town, and Rick comes up with like a gun pointed at him, and the woman who runs the town, who's been like not on his side the whole time, is like, "Do it," and he just fucking blows his head off.
So he was pretty much the town scumbag, essentially.
Yeah.
That people just let him be there, but
Yeah. But then it didn't work out for that lady anyway, because then her and Rick start kind of having a thing, but she has like 2 kids, and zombies like overrun their town or whatever, and in the middle of it, they find out like early on, I think in the first season, if you spread like their guts on you, that they can't sense that you're there.
oh, because they think you're one of them.
Right. So they do that and try and like walk their way out of town, but like one of the kids like freaks out, and the mom turns to like talk to him. They get attacked by zombies, and I think one of the kids had a gun or whatever, and he like falls back and shoots Rick's son in the eye, so he's only got one eye now. It's fucking
This
crazy.
is like a soap opera.
It's a cool show though.
Yeah.
But like now it's starting to pick up again because they've introduced this character Negan from the comic books.
Oh, this is the guy everyone likes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which people have been waiting and waiting. And I love this character. He's a sign of like Robert Kirkman's not great writing necessarily.
Really?
Yeah, because he kind of writes like if you and me had tried to write something when we were teenagers, how we would have just written like, and then he said, "Fuck you, you fucking fucker." Like just
Really?
it's all just curse words and stupid shit. Like that's exactly how Negan talks.
Now, where he came by himself or with a group?
He is the leader of this group they call the Saviors.
The Saviors.
Yeah, well, there you find out that there's a couple different like main groups. While Rick and them are in that Alexandria, like the city, there's another group that you find called the Kingdom, which is fucking badass. It's this dude Ezekiel is their king, and he was like a pet. Or not a pet, but like he worked at a zoo, like training the animals or whatever before the apocalypse. So when it happened, he like took the fucking tiger with him. So he's got like a pet tiger now that like will eat zombies and shit like that.
And it doesn't turn from
no, they found
animals
out,
turn or
yeah,
no?
they found out that animals aren't affected by eating the
So-
walkers.
Wow. And how long did it take them to figure that out? A long time?
Probably a little while.
Really?
Yeah.
So no one like gave a puppy, a little scrap of zombie meat. And
Right.
like, it's like, let's see what happens.
I mean, can you imagine how scary it would have been to be? It's already scary to be walking
Yeah.
around with a tiger, and then if that tiger goes zombie on your
I
ass,
know.
like that's bad news.
That was my main thing. Like, I was like, "Was there a zombie tiger?" Like,
right.
that somehow stays on his side. Like,
yeah. But yeah, they treat everything like real regal. Like all the dudes like ride around in like knights armor and shit that they've found like scavenging.
And what season was this currently? 4 was it?
This that I'm talking about
Yeah.
now is in like season 7.
Holy wait, how many seasons are there even right now?
I believe we're in season 8 right
Jeez,
now.
wow.
Yeah, because you meet Negan at the very end of season 6, and then all of it kind of builds through 7.
What was up with Negan's whole introduction? Like I know the whole about the whole baseball bat swinging and
Yep,
shit. Like,
that was straight out of the comic books, dude.
and what did he do? He pretty much met up with the group that we know all that we knew all along, and it's like, oh, I don't like you.
The Saviors, Negan's group, kind of like corralled them all, like while they were trying to get somewhere. I forget what they were trying to do. Oh, the one character, Maggie, she's pregnant, and they were trying to get her to this other place, the Hilltop, which is another one of the communities that they work with. So they were trying to get her up there because they have better doctors. And the Saviors all sort of like corralled them into this one area and like trapped them. And there was an RV like in the center of the area, and Negan walks out of the RV and essentially tells them that like early on, because you had heard about him before and you heard the Saviors, and there was a scene, you know, Daryl, I'm sure you've heard of the dude with the crossbow, Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
His character like blew up a couple of Saviors early in the show, and this was like payback for that. So Negan was like, look, you fucking with my guys, you killed my guys, so now I gotta kill one of yours. So he went to kill the one, and then of course somebody like freaked out and like jumped at him, and he was like, well, I can't be having you doing any bullshit like that, so now I'm gonna kill another one of you. And he did, pretty gruesomely.
He just bashes their heads in with a bat, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people were pissed because it was the season 6 finale, and you saw like a shot of him in front of the camera, like swing the bat down, and then blood drip down the screen. But then you had to wait until next
to figure
October,
out who it was.
yeah, to find out who he killed.
Is it just a barbed wire bat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
It's funny. Me and Christy and her one friend Katie, we went to I think it was called Zern's in Kutztown, around that area, and there's a little horror shop, believe it or not, there, and her friend Katie really likes Walking Dead, and her mom loves Negan.
Yeah.
So she picked up this big, nice Negan autographed photo.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it seems like everyone loves Negan. And when I first saw him in the trailers for the season, I was like, okay, is he supposed to be the bad guy? But everyone's rooting for him.
Well,
like,
that's
you know
the
what
thing,
I mean?
man. It's like he's the villain to like our normal group, but seeing how like animalistic this group has gotten and stuff, like, and how charming Negan's character is, you kind of almost change sides.
Like he's so charming.
Yeah, dude. Which is the one thing that you can credit to the dude who plays him, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, because they, I think originally they were trying to get Henry Rollins, who he was based off of when they wrote the character in the comics.
That's funny.
Which I thought was cool because I'm a big like Black Flag fan and shit like that, so I like Henry Rollins. But I don't think he would have been able to do this like charming, like, hey, I'm a bad guy, but I'm kind of cool thing that like Jeffrey Dean Morgan can pull off. It's done so well, dude.
And you said we were on season 8 currently?
Yeah, right now they just started. I think their 3rd episode is this weekend.
All right, and at this point, how far ahead were the comics? Like, how many years did they exist before it got turned into a show? A long time, right?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where the comics started, like year-wise, but the storyline that they're on in the show right now is called All Out War. That has long since passed in the comic books.
So pretty much similar kind of with Game of Thrones. There gets to the point where the movie and the show, they have nothing to do with the comic counterpart.
Right.
Kind of like how Game of Thrones, ventured off from being strictly based on the books. But
It feels like Walking Dead almost did the opposite. Like they kind of started out less close to the source material, and then as it progressed, got closer to the actual.
That's
comic book
interesting,
stuff.
actually.
Yeah.
Right. But so how did they say how many seasons there is supposed to be? Like they're like, oh, there's only gonna be 10 and that's it, or is it just gonna keep going on?
Yeah,
until
I think as long as people are watching it, they're just gonna keep making it.
And it seems like it's doing goddamn well.
Oh
like,
yeah,
even people that don't like horror love that show.
Because this all-out war is at least getting stretched out this whole year, possibly even more. They could probably do. And then after the Negan stuff wraps up, they already have another like big villain thing set up with this group, the Whisperers, that like is going to be huge.
To me, it sounds like more of just like a drama show with zombies in the background.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Which is cool. Even though when I first heard it, I was like, oh, it's going to be like a Romero movie, but a show.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's not quite. But then again, you get some similar themes, like in Day of the Dead, the people weren't necessarily morally high, strong. So.
And they've done some cool stuff with the zombies. Like I think it was last year that there was a scene where there was like a carnival of sorts almost.
Oh wow.
And they like had to clear it out of zombies, but then they're doing weird shit like climbing up onto like the Ferris wheel and like shooting from up there and shit like. And there was an episode where they don't ask me how they did it, but they took like 2 cars and attached like a big steel cable between like the doors on either side of like a highway and essentially just like clotheslined an entire like horde of zombies.
And it didn't even fuck the cars up. Like they just plowed. You would think it would just pull the cars.
Oh yeah.
Like.
I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it was awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Fuck clothesline. Zombies
dude.
on the highway. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that that makes it an interesting show.
And they aren't really runners, are they? Or is that a special breed?
No.
Or it's just all wandering, slow zombies?
They're pretty faithful to the walker thing.
Actually, that was probably one big reason why I didn't want to watch the show. I figured it was just going to be runners everywhere.
Nope.
Good. That's awesome. I'm at the point where it's like the show's been going on so long. I feel like it's too late for me to hop in.
Right,
and
now you got like 100 episodes that you would have to jump back into.
Yeah, an hour each.
Yeah,
sure. Oh my God. So there's like 100 hours of Walking Dead out there.
Yeah, they're probably like 45 minutes without commercials, but still, that's a long fucking time.
I mean, so overall, what do you think about it? You like it? I mean, obviously you like it.
Yeah, I think there's more good than bad. I like now, especially that they're being more faithful to the comics because I really love the comics. I like the characters and stuff, and it's just the filler that's like my biggest complaint is like you'll watch an episode and be like, oh, it's another one of those episodes. Like even now, Negan's the big character that everybody's like into, and you'll see 1 or 2 episodes like back to back where you don't see Negan at all.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because it's just following some other side story.
Who was I think wasn't there an Asian guy that got killed by
by Negan? Yeah, Glenn.
I just remember when that whole episode was like new and fresh. People were like, "No, not him," because everyone liked his character.
Right. But it's cool because like that was straight out of the comics. Like even as much as like his eye like popping out, that was all in the comics.
So why do you think some people don't like it?
I
don't like it out of ignorance, really. I don't know anything about it much.
I think that one is like a big part. Like once something gets too big, it's almost cool for like people to be like, yeah, I don't like it because like you don't even want to give it a chance.
Yeah, because it's surprising when you hear even horror fans are like, fuck The Walking Dead.
Right.
But like you wonder, like, how did it get to that point? Did they not like the show, or did they just don't like?
I think there's a lot of people who went into it hoping for like a Romero style, like a zombie
that's
show,
what I would think,
and then it wasn't. Like it's a much more character driven show that just zombies exist in that world.
I'll have to check it out because over the past few years I have been more open to shows.
Right.
Like there's very few shows I like, but the ones I do like, I really, really like. So
I could get you through the backstory like pretty well with only having to watch like a couple.
Really, maybe I
interesting
could just watch
episodes,
the
I think.
current episodes.
Yeah.
And not have to go through all that garbage.
Because there's definitely like hit episodes that like you should see, but like there's also a lot that you could probably just pass right by.
So, was the video game worth talking about, or was it a dud?
The Telltale games?
I just know there was kind of like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
Walking
the Telltale
Dead.
games.
Oh, okay.
Those games are awesome, dude. I love those games.
So that's what Telltale is? It's
Yeah.
choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
essentially?
Telltale's
Oh,
like
wow.
the company that does all the like choose your owns. They did that, Back to the Future, Game of Thrones.
I know Batman's coming out for
Yep,
the Switch,
Batman.
the Telltale one.
Yep, all the Telltale games I've ever played have been amazing, dude.
I didn't even know what Telltale was until now, so that's a cool. Now I know what Batman's gonna be, I guess.
And it's cool because it's not just like pick an answer, pick an answer, pick an answer. Like you do get to walk around and like inspect shit and stuff.
I know a big part of it is who do you help and who do you kill and
Yeah.
let die.
And they like say you you run into somebody and they're like, please like help me, and you go, no, I'm not gonna help them. A little thing pops up in the top of the screen that says like such and such will remember that. Like so it affects how the characters treat you. It's awesome, dude.
That's cool. So overall, what would you rate the show so far?
Out of 5?
Sure.
Stick to our normal metric.
Yeah, we always choose 5.
I would give it like a 3.25.
All right,
It's
that's pretty damn
It's a
good.
little better than a 3, but it definitely has its flaws.
I'm gonna see if I can get my girlfriend to watch it with me, because I know she hates it too, without even knowing anything about it. She's kind of like me.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think I'll have to give it a fucking shot.
It's
Why
worth a
not?
shot, dude.
I hope I like it, because then it's something else to enjoy, right?
Then we'll have to go back and film a reaction video once you've
Oh my
watched
God.
it all.
Oh wow!
Be like, oh, here's Andy's thoughts on
Yeah.
Walking Dead.
Guys, I had 0 spoilers beforehand. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I've already
right.
seen everything.
I
Online.
just told you so
Oh,
much
yeah.
shit, too.
Spoilers.
Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
spoilers to anybody watching that doesn't
Well, I
watch
mean,
Walking Dead.
you telling me all that actually kind of got me interested for the first time. So.
Right. Unfortunately, that's me, like, grazing over all the interesting stuff.
Well, you know, if I
So,
watch it, then
Yeah.
it'll be a little treat. Is that going to be it for Walking Bread?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's-
The Walking Dead.
That's all we got, I think.
All right. Well, Steve, you did a good job
Hey, thanks,
fronting that episode. All right, I hope you guys had a great time listening to Steve and watching me nod. That's going to be it for this episode. Kurious Cyclops.
And Steve.
Thank you for watching.